All right, let's
All
do
right.
this. Welcome to Big Fan Podcast. Kevin, the creator, here with Dan, John, and Jackie. Let's go. So,
John, our space guy, John, just figured out that there was drones in the sky like 2 weeks ago,
Two
and
weeks ago. Wow. Okay. You know, I've been on a media blackout. I just haven't paid attention to anything. Just trying to free my mind from all the muck. So,
no, I got
what
you.
about what's happening in the air?
Dan, you want to explain this?
Well, I've been kind of avoiding the story too, but like I've still heard about it. So like this is like me not in the know, like but like there has
So,
been drones over New Jersey for
Okay.
weeks, for months now,
Yeah.
and no one can tell us what they are. Not the government. The government's like,
But you said there were drones though.
see,
well, yeah,
now,
they were like as big as cars. I was hearing like the size of these things, like they
Okay,
only
not
come out at
UAPs,
night.
not UAPs, but
but,
these drones. Oh.
but that's just one side of the story because there's drones and then there's
Oh, I
plasmoids.
don't know about the plasma,
You
but
don't know about
Okay.
that? That's what they're looking
no.
for. It's a
Well, that's your theory.
That's
that's what
yeah.
I've seen on the news.
They might be looking for like a nuke too.
That's what
That's the
they said
thing.
too.
That's what they're trying to tell you. Hey, did you see that you haven't even seen the plasmoids?
Oh,
Like I
what do you
said,
when you
I've
say
like
plasmoid?
So
avoided.
What
so
do you
so
mean by that? What is
I
it?
could explain. I could
Yeah,
explain.
Hmm.
So like it usually happens in like thunderstorms.
Okay.
And you'll get these like circle balls of like electricity and they'll
Okay.
move through the woods or what have you, and they'll just
Sure.
do whatever they want, and they'll
Yeah.
just take off. Well,
Mm,
that's like a little one. It also happens in space. Like I
mm,
was watching like NASA and stuff, like
mm,
documentaries where they would take this cable and they would like lay it on the ground in space and like they would drag it,
mm,
and these uh plasmoids, the balls of energy, they would all
mm,
attract to it and they would fly
mm.
all types of ways, like as if they knew like kind of what they were doing. Like they all had their own
Okay.
agenda, and some would even cannibalize over other ones.
Okay.
And so there's been sightings of plasmoids, and these huge things are just flying around in the sky. And the drones, I believe my take on it
Mm,
is that the drones are looking for those. That's our US government, and we're looking for those. It's
mm,
not no nukes or anything like they're trying to tell you. They're looking for that stuff. And yeah,
government won't say anything about it. Like government won't
they said
like
it. They said it. They said there's aliens. Nobody cares, but it's
they
like,
yeah, but like not like
what do you want
real
them to
like.
do? They said that shit. They're like,
it's it's more likely that it's China, if anything. I would say it's
China.
more likely China than aliens, but like the fact
But
that they're even trying to say that is kind of crazy to me. Like,
plasmoid?
well, just like these drones, man, these things that have been over, well, there's more than just New Jersey.
mm.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've kind of avoided the story because I thought it was bullshit for the longest time, but like I kept getting hit with it like on the side. And then I like,
Okay.
Let me take you guys back a little bit. Now,
okay.
so let me take you back to Moa Moa. Okay, the object came very close to Earth, and it
Mm.
did a V-shape thing and moved away from us. Otherwise, it would have collided with us. Do you guys remember this?
Yes,
2000 some
absolutely.
shit,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
I don't
Absolutely.
know. No. But like, just I trust you. I trust you guys. But like, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Mm, yeah.
So, and it was a huge, like the size of let's say a football field, object like that coming at us, and then it changed ways, and the whole world was like, well, that was weird, you know. But I believe, now I could be crazy, but I believe that like whatever that thing was, it found us. you know,
Mm,
it had
mm,
GPS, like boom, here they go, and then not that far later, we got these things here, and not to mention
mm,
like the things in the ocean or like all these things, and it's the same shit, it's like, yeah, the
mm,
UFOs and the government's kind of spilling over and having to tell us these,
mm, mm.
So I would say my uneducated opinion is that it's China. They
Mm.
have been buying farmland around our military bases for years now. they have drone technology, and they have already flown a spy balloon across the United States that we ignored for until it got into the ocean.
Mhm.
So I think that's just China, maybe trying to make a move, maybe not, or just at least just trying to,
Do you
they're already
believe
monitoring us through TikTok and do that shit, and
if
I think
those
they're
things
just trying
did,
to, huh?
if those balloons did come from China, do you think like they could have been to test our like, like if something's not coming in fast enough, we won't like pick it up on our like enemy list of like to shoot it down, so it was like testing out our range, just like, all right, if we move at this pace, you know, if it
I
was
think that's
China,
part of it. Yeah,
I mean, it could be,
I
I'm
think
smart.
they were seeing where our nukes are at because a lot of our nukes are in those Montana, those kind of states.
I,
That's where they flew over, originally, and we just let them until they got into the ocean.
I mean, some people called me a genius, and
That's what I say, man. I'm nervous for these 30 days, man, because like there's no president right now. There really is not, and like whatever happens, happens, and there's really nobody in charge. So it's kind of you
so you're not
hate
worried.
like or hate Trump. Like at least he's a body. Like we don't even have a body right now, and people
Let's
should like there's a shadowy shit running in the background. That's what I say, man. With all these drones, like
why do you feel we're not
that's
capable of shooting these drones down?
we're 100. Not only are we 100% capable of shooting drones down, we 100% know where they're coming from. This is the United States of America. We have satellites
Right.
everywhere. Unless they're flying overseas, they have to eventually at some point go somewhere home. We like the fact that we know that the government, like, I don't know, it'd be hard for me to say that the government does not know where these drones are coming from, at least by now.
What
Like,
if their
because they can't.
technology is what if their technology is better than ours right now?
Who, China? Well,
Or
it would have to be China because I don't know who else it could be that would have better technology than us. But like,
Russia? You don't think Russia? Its capability?
nah,
They done said, all right, this is what we done brought it to.
I probably I have
Did
a
you see
different view of Russia, like probably than like I don't know. I think
did,
Russia just envies us is really, and they want to be our friends.
have you
I
seen
would
the weapon that they were just shooting off fucking the other day?
we keep him. The U.S. allowed Zelensky to shoot these missiles into Russia, like into Russia proper. Like I don't know. I'm not. I want to end the Ukraine. Like this. I don't know. Like I don't know that people agree with me. So like I'm representing a view that like.
Say what you got to say. Say your truth. That's
Well, like
that's why we're big fan.
well,
Might not
I don't
agree.
even know what we're talking about right now, but just I don't
Talking
know.
about
No,
like
about
Russia.
Ukraine. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ukraine. You're feeling a little different.
So
I
I got some.
I feel like the Ukraine. I feel like us funding Ukraine in the same way that we fund Israel is more of a money laundering scheme than anything. And I'm against it on that fact. It's just like we give a tons of money to Ukraine and Israel, and then Israel takes that money and gives it back to U.S. politicians to fund
Right.
interests of those countries, right?
Right.
That's how I see it, and that's what all
Sure,
this is
that's
about.
happening. I hear that's happening. Yeah.
So like I don't support any of those wars because I don't it's money this is all run on money. This is all run on like the military industrial complex and like the money from politicians to governments back to politicians of other countries. It's just like
Well,
it's like a money
what do you
laundering
think
scheme.
ultimately? Maybe those are the symptoms of a greater problem. Well, why do you think America is doing this? Well, what is the ultimate goal of doing these things? You think?
I mean, like I think in the Israel sense, we're trying to let Israel, if so facto, build an empire in the Middle East. Like we've toppled the regimes of every country around them. We've toppled. If you see in the news, Syria fell.
Yeah.
You know, we've had a few like years ago. We've had Libya fell. We've had this shit with Iraq. You know, we've destroyed every resistance in that region, and we're just going to allow Israel to just come in there and just take it over. Well, I mean, whether you're for or against that, like I don't, you know, I just think that that's my opinion. That's what's happening. If you look at like the Greater Israel Plan, you know, if you ever look up Greater Israel, you can see like what their goals are for Zionism, and we're kind of
I've seen a
helping them
pendant.
achievement on their behalf.
I see there's a pendant. I've seen what the map Greater Israel looks like. It carves into a bunch of other countries' territory. Sure, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, Syria
they
for
wear
sure.
it. Yeah. Syria, you know, there'll be no West Bank, there'll be no Gaza. You know,
It's just all going to be Israel.
Yeah, Israel. You know, from the river to the sea. You know, I've always heard that, and I thought it was the Palestinians saying that they were going to destroy the Jewish people from the river to the sea. But that's not true. They never. That's not their slogan. That was Israel's slogan: "To the river, to the sea." It's on their map. The top is the river. The Israel is in the middle, and then there's another blue stripe. You know, river to the sea. Israel. You know, they want the whole thing, and that was their slogan. You know, but then when the Palestinians started saying it, then people attributed it to them in terrorism. It's funny how
Do you guys think Trump's going to be able to stop these wars within 24 hours? He said a lot.
Well, the problem with Trump is he's got a lot of, I think there's like a couple forms of like MAGA is like Trump's got a lot of Zionist influence in his cabinet. So you would say that he would, but like the hope is that Trump is slightly different and that he understands that. But it's just, like I said, it's just my opinion, but I think he's going to push Israel to make a peace.
Okay.
But like, they're going to let him, I don't know. I don't know if they'll listen. They don't like,
Israel is trying to get the United States to join them in bombing, attacking Iran. You know, Israel is
they're
stopping, like you
next.
said, they're next. But the United States doesn't want beef with Iran because Iran is a lot more formidable than those other countries. It's not just going to be some shock and awe campaign. It's going to be some long, drawn out process. You know, because all you could do is just bomb them. A land invasion of Iran is impossible. It just wouldn't work. You know, they have the upper hand and they know it. You know, and so what's the point? You know, bomb them and then they're just going to rebuild. You know, what's the point? You know, you can't bomb them into submission. You know, and right now they probably do have a nuclear weapon. You know, they're just probably working on a guidance system. But I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have it right now.
Babe, what's your thoughts on this?
I really don't follow the wars.
Yeah.
I try to stay away from it.
Well, what about like the drone stuff? You've been seeing that on TikTok
Ever since you showed me.
ever since I fed
Yeah, what do you think about the drone?
Scary.
I think that the government's trying to distract people from something.
So we were actually talking about like the drones and the plasmoids. Have you seen it?
As far as over New Jersey, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I've heard of some of it.
Have you? What do you know about the plasmoid stuff?
Absolutely nothing. So fill me in.
Damn, I thought
I don't know what some of these plasmoids. I've never heard that term until you said it.
The videos that we've seen, they're like they look like fireballs, like falling from the sky.
They look like jellyfish,
and then like they'll like multiply, and then they'll fall, and then they'll.
You know, let me share this with you, Kevin.
So wait. Let me say this real quick. Sorry. But I've seen a drone touch a plasmoid, and then the drone fell from the sky. I seen that shit. I've seen these fucking plasmoids fucking come down and whatever, and then multiply into more plasmoids. The drones are chasing the fucking plasmoids. The plasmoids keep happening. Whatever the fuck is out there. And when Trump said when Trump said, I wouldn't vacation in where? Bez Mitzvah?
That's where his golf course is in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Betz-Metzger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he wouldn't visit there right now. And that's where all the fucking UFO shit and everything. So you tell me. But go ahead, John.
I remember watching a program years ago, but I remembered it, different theories that that the upper atmosphere might be a biosphere. There might be things that live that high up, like things living on top of the water. There are things that might live just above the atmosphere. That's why sometimes when like a meteor hits the earth, sometimes it hits these things and they land into the earth, and that's how sometimes we get these viruses. But the animals that live on the upper edge of like a whole ecosystem. So we might be seeing when the space station's up there, they see things running around doing things. These things might be alive or something like that.
I
When you
haven't
mention the
heard
plasmoids.
I haven't heard the Space Force mention shit. It's like
Right.
what the fuck's going on, Space Force? They're
Right.
quiet than a motherfucker.
Well, it got to be top secret.
Yeah.
Elon's too busy being
Stop.
a co-dictator.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is
Rule,
yours.
rule from behind.
I
Yeah.
know.
My bad.
Foreign interference. Right.
Trying to steal my drink, guys.
I was trying to steal her.
What are you drinking?
They're like these hard seltzers.
Oh, we got Trulies. We got
It's
we got
Quirk. It's called Quirk.
Quark.
Quirk.
Yeah.
I've never heard of Quark.
Sponsored by a big fan. No, I'm joking.
Sponsored by Big Fan Podcast.
I think these are new because I've never seen these before.
You see the merch, Dan?
Yeah, where's my hat, man?
I
I'm
got
going
you.
bald, man. I'm losing my hair.
Hey, I
It's
got you.
sad. I was looking at it today. It was like, damn, I got a big ass fucking forehead. Oh, sorry.
Hell yeah. So back to the drones. What is your take on so Jenno, what is your take on these drones? Like
My take on these drones is that they are not at all in any form or fashion a threat to the U.S. establishment, because if it was, they would have been shot down before they got there. In fact, this is probably some technical inside military practice of usage of this technology, which is probably owned by one of these military companies, which is actually what we all should be invested in, because we all know that war equals money. So we should be finding what companies Nancy Pelosi and everyone else is investing in, considering the fact that they all profit off war, and we should all profitize off war too. You know what I'm saying? And that's my answer to that.
No.
Do I think that they're actual aliens flying over New Jersey? No, because what the fuck would an alien have use of New Jersey? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was an alien, I'm not going to New Jersey. Like,
and I just hope like the listeners know, like, everybody who's on here is like, independent thoughts.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But it's
even
not an independent thought that Nancy Pelosi is possibly either the biggest fucking conniving inside trader, or she is the greatest stockbroker of all time, and we should follow her trade.
No.
Considering that
She should follow her
for 30
trades.
years, that only pays $130,000 a year, but she's worth $120 something million. She's a very good stockbroker, and we should be doing the same.
Yeah.
We should invest in military.
No.
No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't.
Fight the power.
I'm
a libertarian. I believe in isolationism, basically.
I understand.
I think we should go back to a pre-World War II model of this country where
I'm like a semi-Republican. Like, I kind of favor capitalism, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? I like the idea of using capitalism in which we would use as a grouped economics. But since we live in such a society of like mass consumerism, it's really hard to convince people like, hey, you don't have to trample on other people to be a winner. You can also, there doesn't have to be a have-not for you to be a have. But that's neither here nor there. But I do believe in small government, big military.
I'm a hot or cold guy. Like, part of me thinks that like we should just conquer Canada and Mexico and just make it all America. Like, seriously, like just be like, this is just America now. Like, and part of me feels like we should never get involved in anything ever. Like pre-World War II model. Like, that's the majority of me. But like, part of me feels like we should just at least be like, there's no North America, there's just America.
See, but what about the technology that we're seeing right now? It's like whoever's doing this, got the upper hand on America right now. Is it us or is it,
It's
not
definitely
us?
us. It's definitely us.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's us. Yeah.
It's definitely us.
That's what I
Yeah.
told Kevin. I said
They're
I
not
think it's
looking for a
us.
nuke. They're not looking for no fucking nuke.
They're not. They're looking for propaganda. They propagandize us. You know what I mean?
Mm.
What people would say is they fly at night to see
Why
the
don't you guys believe in the
signatures of a
aliens?
nuke, and that's why they're out at night,
I 100%
right?
believe in aliens.
That's what's going on, man. You guys.
But why would an alien have a drone?
End of days, nigga. It's the fucking angel, nigga. They're letting us
Somebody
know.
said that I heard there's a rogue nuke out there, and they're trying to find the rogue nuke. That's what I've like. That's the shit
That
I've
don't make
heard.
sense. That don't even make
And like
sense.
that's why they fly out at night, because they can detect the signatures better at night than during the day.
I don't know.
Because there's
man.
no
That's
other
a
reason
good
for
point.
drones to be out at night.
That's what we got to think about. Like, well, let's think. Besides that, like, why else would they be doing it? Why else? Aliens?
Propagandize, misdirect.
Yeah, aliens for sure. Yeah.
I mean, besides that, like, even like cut out aliens. Why else? Spying on us?
No, they're doing a great job at that already.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing to find out. I've seen some of those things hovering over fucking cemeteries. Dude's like, why the fuck are they over the cemetery?
Well, I mean, they already banned it, the drones in New Jersey, and a couple
and
other places.
You
So
still got them.
that's
But these things are more high tech than drones. Even like the people, the government's like, nah, this ain't even like. They're like, our drones move at like 40 miles an hour. These things are moving like past 60.
they're lying.
This is off subject, but like we should be more concerned with the fact that like Biden handed out like 1,500 fucking pardons, mostly to Chinese spies and pedophiles, in which are the same connected to the same people in which his son was caught taking bribes from on behalf of fucking Biden, which is like pure fucking treason. So like that's more of a threat to like the American people, but like we're not ready for that for some reason.
Do you guys think he'll be charged with stuff after he's not president anymore?
No, because he's mentally
He's
incompetent.
pardoned himself. He's pardoned himself. He didn't just pardon Hunter. He pardoned himself.
Yeah.
In a way.
I mean, even if Trump did pursue him, like there's room to believe that he's mentally incompetent.
Without Hunter Biden being able to go against him in any sort of facet, like he's essentially pardoned himself. Like that's why he dated it all the way back to when he was vice president, because he never thought he'd be president, so he was trying to make a ton of money, and then he
100%.
like.
Okay, so
That's crazy.
so let's go back a little bit. So Putin is about to fucking get ready to nuke us if Ukraine uses these fucking missiles. They're like, yo, if those missiles you're using that could go long fucking distance and fuck our shit up, they're like, that's a sign of fucking like they're like that I've had enough.
Putin would never nuke U.S. soil because his nuclear power is nowhere near America's. And
what about go to war?
He would be able to
go to war with us.
Yeah, even if he goes to war with us, they wouldn't be on U.S. soil, and his troops are not prepared. They're like in fucking Ukraine watching porn right now. They're not concerned with like fucking conquering Ukraine.
I just seen him shooting this fucking weapon, okay, in Ukraine, and it was like some sonar fucking like, death ray kind of fucking like bloom, bloom.
What you got to see about Ukraine's capabilities is they can't even, or Russia's capabilities is that they can't even beat Ukraine.
100%.
Even with just like us giving them some weapons, they can't even beat Ukraine after like 3 years. How the fuck are they going to conquer the world?
Yeah.
But then that makes them crazy enough to fucking nuke, and it's like enough.
Not necessarily, because I mean the beauty of Russia being a dictatorship is that like Putin wants to protect that power, and he understands that America is going to go directly for him. We're not really concerned with blowing up all of Russia because Russia is not a threat to us. But just as we fucking got Saddam out of a hole or any other situation that we've had, it will not be hard to get to Putin, considering that America probably has insiders who are within his party that actually are in fear of Putin's like reign. You know what I mean? So like America's always one step ahead.
But we need the oil from Russia.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
We have our own.
We have
No.
our own, bro. We have plenty of our
That's
own. We have
that's
plenty
why
of
this
our own.
that's why this whole economy bullshit has been bullshit. Is because we have the answer right beneath our feet.
We
It's
have
like
some. That's ours, but we want
you
theirs.
don't like how much of our economy depends on energy. If you think about it, is like even your food. What it takes gas to get it there. If you put it on the shit, everything depends on energy.
But that's what I'm saying. That's
So
Look,
if
even more.
if we have more energy than anybody in the world, like what the
100%.
fuck are we doing living in this
America
in the
doesn't
state that
need
we're in?
anything from anyone.
Exactly.
We do.
Make people feel like, hey, it's like this, bro. It's like if you're my neighbor and you borrow shit from me all the time, to make you feel less poor, I might knock on your door and say, hey, can I just borrow a little bit of sugar? Because it's to make you feel like there's this relationship established. But really, America is just like, look, I don't need shit. And if I really wanted to, since I control the sea, I'll stop trade for everybody if you don't continue to give me what I want. Our debt is not real because we have a black budget
Our debt
that
is real. I
that we
mean,
know is funded completely by the drug trade and mass incarceration.
it's certainly real.
There's no need, like America doesn't have a need other than our desire to have bases in places we don't belong. But as far as self-sufficiency, America could have done that just on the budget we've given Ukraine 5 times more. Literally.
Think of what we've given Ukraine could have done for our country. Think of
Right.
what we spent in
Could have stopped
Iraq. We spent
homelessness.
over $1 trillion. Think of what $1
Yeah.
trillion in America would have done for our country. $1 trillion in the 50 states. Like you spread it
100%.
out equally. What that would have done. They have been robbing us for 30 years over these foreign wars. So military complex companies can get rich. Like
I think they
they're
shouldn't
just
even tax
continuing it
us.
after Afghanistan into Ukraine and Russia into Israel. And it's just like
I think they shouldn't even tax us. You know, like it's done. You know, it's like, why are you still taxing me for everything? You go buy a car, tax on that shit. You buy a house, tax on that shit. You go to work, they taxing your fucking work and shit. Is like you paying for them to build the road, and then they put a fucking toll, so you have to pay taxes to pass it. It's like,
toll roads in Chicago were never supposed to be a permanent thing. It was only supposed to be a temporary thing. It was only
That's
supposed to
what
be like a set year thing, and they were supposed to get rid of it, and they never did.
yeah, that sucks in Chicago, man. It's like
Yeah, it was. I think it was like 10 years or something. They were like, "Oh, we'll do it for 10 years, and then we'll get rid of it, and then it'll never be a thing again because we'll have all the money we need."
some of those toll roads are expensive as fuck, like $16. Like not in Chicago, but like other places and shit. And it's like I've been in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, and it was like, okay, past toll road is like $16. I'm like, what the fuck? I actually actually missed my stop, and I gotta go back, so I gotta pay 16 plus 16 and shit or some shit, you know.
Mm.
It's fucked up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they just get you.
All right, all day long, 365 days a year, they're just clocking money. Wow.
Yeah.
But they don't have to if you just learn tax law. They don't have to. You know, if you stay in a W-2 lifestyle, sure. But you can leverage it. Like people hate, you know, people are not fans of Donald Trump, you know, it's movement.
I thought you were going Robert
or they don't
Kiyosaki
realize
on
the
me here.
They don't realize the talent he has, but he is like the Steph Curry of tax law. And if you can understand how to leverage tax law, you know what I mean? Like put yourself in a position where your income is asset based, and instead of monetizing the asset, borrow against the asset. Because if you borrow money, you do not pay tax.
That's Robert Kiyosaki.
Right.
Shit right there.
But 100%, right? So like I have something that's of value. If this is worth $1 million, I'm not going to sell it for $1 million and pay $400,000 in tax. That'd be a fucking retard. So instead, I'm going to borrow against it and use it as collateral, and I'm going to pay 5% interest on that million, and I'm going to avoid paying taxes. And everybody's going to piss and moan about how I don't pay my fair share of taxes. But even if I did pay my fair share of taxes, all it would do was fucking furnish some fucking politician's wife's office and wouldn't go to what it's needed anyway. So I might as well just play the game.
And the tax law is based on what Americans let it be. So like people bitch about it, but like if people actually give a shit about it, it would change.
100%. The game is not broken. The game is beautifully fixed. It's just we're misdirected in the idea that things can be a certain way, but it's the way it needs to be if you just understand financial literacy. You know, America is the only place where you can get rich with an idea. So we have a lot to complain about here, but there's nowhere else in this world that you can truly monetize an idea and not face, persecution, in a certain fashion. Although we do have cancel culture now. But be that as it may, in other countries you can be fucking stoned and killed on the spot. Here we still have a judicial system that you can monetarily pay to play. So is it fair? No. But there's rules to the game and they're
Fair.
open to be learned.
Geno, the stuff you're talking about isn't good for my brand. You're talking about people being stoned and stuff.
He's lying.
So no, I wasn't saying that. I was just saying, like, in other
No, I'm
countries,
just joking.
it's
I'm just
harder.
joking. I'm
I think we got
joking.
fired up on the topic. My bad.
I'm passionate about group economics, and I try to tell people, like, look,
Yeah.
bro, especially as a person who came from like true poverty, like pissing in my backyard poverty, like, yo, the information is there for us. It's just we're at a time where, though the information is so available, pleasure has never been so instantly accessible, and people would rather be entertained over informed. But if they use that same urgency to be informed, their life would change dramatically in a year. It doesn't take much, it really doesn't take much. So, and this is going to sound very harsh, but in most cases, poverty is the choice. Because poverty is not limited to finance. It's a mental choice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's about what information are you consuming and what are you making applicable to your lifestyle? Because you can compound nothing to something. I've literally done it. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say, man. Hard to say.
Interesting.
Mhm.
So let's get to some lighter subjects, more or less news based. So what else is going on?
You got Syria that was just overthrown, and like people being let out of prison for 20 fucking years and thought Saddam Hussein saved them and had to be slightly informed that he's been fucking dead since 2006.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy, right? Talk about a dictatorship or a regime falling. Those people were going through some bad shit along with children. They were torturing children over there. So crazy stuff. But he actually fled to Russia, so their dictator.
Let's see. What's some happier stuff?
Yeah,
Hey, I was just following what he was saying. He was talking, everything was war.
Yeah, I see Gladiator 2.
Not yet.
As a lover of the Roman
They
Empire.
were making a big thing about it because the way he was speaking.
See, it was him.
Yeah.
I seen it. I'm not done with it. It's a pretty long fucking movie. It's pretty good though.
Oh, you're watching it?
Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta see it, but I don't know. I'm nervous. I love Roman history, man. I don't. Can I tell you the worst part of Gladiator for me? And I love Gladiator. It's one of my favorite movies. And the worst part is the ending when they show the end credits and they said it was like a golden age that lasted 100 years. That couldn't be farther from the truth. And it always pissed, like, literally after fucking Commodus died, it was called the crisis of the 3rd century. Like, it's literally how they define. There was not 100 years of golden age peace bullshit. It was terror. It was civil wars. It was, I don't know. Sorry. That's just a tangent. That part of Gladiator, you watch the end of Gladiator and you get to that credit scene after they fucking wheel off, Russell Crowe, and that shit makes my blood boil every time. Because it couldn't be farther from ridiculousness. But yeah.
How long did it last?
What?
You said it was it wasn't 100. It was.
Well, I think after Commodus died, there was like 6 emperors in like 2 years or something. Like, it was crazy. And then ended with like the 7, like Commodus ended kind of the golden age, and then like the Severan dynasty came in like eventually afterwards, and it was kind of like an Iron Age where like the Roman Empire was no longer like in its height. It was more like a warlike, militaristic kind of an empire.
So when is the Pax Romana? Is that the time of peace?
That was right, but that ended with Marcus Aurelius, who gave it to Commodus, and Commodus ended it. But it was the five emperors. It was Antonius Pius. It was Trajan, Hadrian, Nerva, maybe Nerva. Nerva was first. Trajan, Hadrian, Antonius Pius, and then Marcus Aurelius. No, sorry.
You know your shit.
Yeah.
I love Roman history.
Yeah. So, you know, I didn't give my take on those UAPs and UFOs and things like that.
Been waiting for it.
You know, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say what they really are. I do believe that it's all human. I don't think it's aliens. I really don't think so. I don't think it makes sense for aliens to be doing what they're doing if that's what they're doing. I think it is us. I think maybe the technology is not of this earth and we don't have full control of it yet. So what it does is what it does. We don't really control it, but it's in our possession still, maybe, or something like that. But I don't think it's a threat because you're right. You know, it would have been shot down if it was coming from another country. And, you know, I don't know. The United States military is just too overpowered. I don't think anybody wants to do anything that's going to trigger some type of conflict with the military. I mean, you don't want them parking one of them aircraft carriers alongside your country. You don't want that kind of conflict. I don't see anybody doing anything, some kind of sneak attack with a balloon. Like, well, what's that going to do except get us angry and give the United States an excuse to park one of these airports outside your country and stay there. Nobody wants that. So I just think it's Americans, some secret organization within the military that's has higher clearance than everybody. And they let them do whatever they have to do to control this thing. And sometimes maybe the speed of these things are not controllable. Before you know it, the test subject just over New Jersey, there it is, overhead. Didn't plan for it to go that fast, that far, but it did. And it goes back. But maybe there's more to it than just that. So it's anyone's guess. I think it's anyone's guess. I wish our government would be a little more forthtelling, but I don't think so. There are a lot of people in the government that want to know, but I think it's a pay grade above them that's keeping the information away from us. I think they want to complete control of this technology, and until they have complete control of it, it's going to stay a secret. And I think different governments may have a version of this technology. I understand that there is ways to manipulate the Earth's magnetic field, maybe, and get an aircraft to react to it. That was something I heard once someone was working on. So we might be witnessing, the test subjects of these new devices that won't be aerodynamic but magnetic dynamic. Just traversing across the Earth's magnetic field, maybe. So I don't think the aliens, not yet. I think the aliens have no reason to come here, not yet.
Well, I think you guys just got to check out the plasmoids.
The plasma, but going back to what I was saying about, they could be an environment just above the surface of the Earth. Now, literally, because it is, compared to the vacuum of space, it is a medium. It is something that's like dense, and something real small probably could exist on top of it. So these plasmoids, like you're saying, might be some part of some ecosystem, because there's a lot of videos of the astronauts filming things outside the window.
I'm not gonna lie, I think a lot of it is propagandized. You know what I mean? Like for hundreds of years, governments have used this form of distraction.
Yeah.
Wield the right hand from seeing what the left hand does.
Right.
I don't buy into that shit. I think that, do I believe in, Anunnakis and certain things that we cover on a majority of the basis? I do. But I think that these things are so far advanced from us that they understand how to move or to orchestrate what they need without intervening in human society, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, personally, I'm going to go with John on this one. This is some rogue, whether, operation or investment or testing of technology for whatever premise. More than likely, some form of a monetary gain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dan, final thoughts?
I'm sticking with my China theory. China's been buying up farmland all around military bases. This is a known fact. You can look it up.
100%.
John?
I think they may be looking to make a move in the next. They may be thinking about making a move. They might not make a move, but I think it's definitely China. That's who I would put. If it was us, I feel like Biden would have said it was us. What's the harm in just saying, "Hey, it's we're doing some shit up there. It's us. You don't gotta fucking worry." Like people are freaked out about this, so like, why couldn't he just at least say that if it was that? Like,
Because the
we're
American
looking
people,
into some shit. We're doing some shit. Like, hey,
the American people wouldn't like that though. They're like, "Why you got
I
drones
think
over my shit?"
I think that's a much better option than just saying like what they're saying.
They're like, "I don't know."
Well, I mean, I don't think China's ready to get into a conflict with the United States. I just don't see them provoking America. I mean, they don't have it quite yet. I think they're a few decades away from really being a true military competitor. I don't think any country is anywhere near America's equal. It just
Yeah.
no one has it.
And I don't think that
America,
China wants it with us because we're like one of their main.
right?
We're one of their main consumers of everything.
Right.
So like
real,
the
that's what
idea
I
of
was gonna say.
dismantling our consumerism is crazy. It's the backhand slap to their own agenda.
Right. So I think it's a lot of saber rattling, but China is going to build itself up. But America's going to build itself even more so. So they'll just be an arms race, until someone breaks it. But I don't think it's a good business policy for either country. I think,
I mean,
yeah.
I
What are
was
you
gonna
gonna say?
say, you guys think like they couldn't do it. They've already done it to us. They sent that spy balloon over the entire United States.
Right.
They're not capable of this. They've already done it. Like,
No, but we do it to them too. I mean, it's the geopolitical games that we all play. I mean, they got to spy on us the same way we spy on them. It's not like we're innocent, like we're just sitting there minding our businesses and then they're spying on us. And we would do it to them. So whoever can get over on whomever, that's fine. It's always going to be that way. But is it a true threat? I don't see it. I mean, logistically, to really transport something of any true military capacity, it's too great a distance, too many obstacles, too many things that get in the way. I think it was an accidental balloon um, invasion or incursion, and they took advantage of it while it happened. But there are always balloons up at a certain altitude. That's not the only one. This one just dipped down lower than normal. But there's always these Chinese balloons that do fly overhead. They're supposedly not able to take that well high def pictures. They're limited, but when they start descending, then they can. So that was the problem. But there's probably a balloon overhead right now.
Besides, China's got TikTok. They got better ways to spy on us.
They're right. Exactly.
I was gonna say I don't think they're sending the rogue nuke over. I just want to make that clear. Like that was just like the alternate theory. I don't think China is sending a rogue nuke.
I thought that was your theory. Yeah.
No. That's not my theory. No.
Nobody wants to get into a nuclear exchange with the United States. I mean, our missiles work 100% for sure. They're going to work on demand, and we'll overwhelm you. I mean, when people think that North Korea is dangerous, they're not dangerous. They're not
No, they're
dangerous
a
at
fucking
all.
speck of pepper.
Yes, I mean, maybe they'll hit a target in the Pacific Ocean or something like that, but it'll never make it to the mainland with certainty, and then we'd overwhelm the country if they did make contact with the continental USA. It doesn't make any sense for anybody to get into a nuclear exchange with the United States. I'm not worried about World War III, is what I'm saying. Not at all. It's not going to happen. The United States is a linchpin, and they keep it secured. There's no reason to pull it.
I agree with John. I think they're trying to push us into World War III, but it's not going to happen because we
Not
won't
gonna happen.
allow it.
We won't allow it. All right, America's way too powerful for that. The United States is more like a hyperpower, not a world power, hyperpower. They're the only country that can project power to everyone else's country. No one could even project it towards us, but we could do it to everyone else. That's insane. All right. Yeah,
So how do you
insane.
guys feel about this potential bill where citizens can capture an immigrant and make $1,000? Have you guys heard of this?
No. Are you
No,
kidding?
I've not heard of this.
I feel like they try to capture me and I'd have to give them the bad news. Like, yeah, I was born here. I know I look like I wasn't, but sorry to rob you of this 1,000, buddy. Let me out this car.
How much were they paying? 1,000?
It's just a bill that one politician was proposing that to get citizens involved in the mass deportation, because it is a crazy operation. The idea of deporting 120 million people. You know, Trump was talking about sending even children that were born here, but their parents are still immigrants, back with their family, which is like pretty extreme. You know?
It's like a hotline and shit. You would call it on like the people.
No, he's literally saying like a civil arrest. Like you could snatch an immigrant up, and like if it turns out to be an immigrant, you get $1,000 reward. But like that's kind of crazy. That'd be an instant
That sounds like a
martial law in
fake
no
story.
Where are you from? Still wait for that accent.
Right.
Get her.
Stay cheap. Please get him.
Yeah. I can see that being a problem, though.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I think we can end it on that.
Yeah.
It's been a fun second podcast. I appreciate the hard work you guys are putting in. You know.
Yeah, I had to listen to everything. I was ready to go.
And
I like the outline. No, I appreciate the outline. As a person, I've been saying we needed the outline was much needed, so I appreciated the outline.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. I got a team. Got a team now.
Yeah, this is it. Make no alteration.
Yep.
Where's Marielle at, man? I was getting ready, man.
Well, here let's end the podcast real quick.
Well, yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for listening. It's been my pleasure.